Hello, this is Ahmed Sarym, and thank you so much for liking the channel with the videos that I've posted. I am overwhelmed, and today I am overjoyed by the fact that I have been joined by none other than Kubra Khan. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. I'm finally meeting you after knowing you for about 4 years.
More than that, I think about 5-6 years now.
How are you?
Oh, great, not bad at all.
And
It's just so nice to see you grow as well because I think when we both started, we both were pretty young. You were much younger, obviously, and I remember you were like this small. I saw you in pictures, so I know that you're much smaller, but mashallah, you've grown greatly as well. So well done.
Yeah. So here we are talking about your big film as the female lead, alongside none other than Humayun Saeed.
Yeah.
What does that feel like, and especially because you're joining this franchise JBNA, which is huge on its own, the second highest grossing film of Pakistan. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure.
There is a lot of pressure actually. I think the pressure is equivalent on everybody who's in the cast or in the production and stuff, because they've set examples, like the highest grossing, the second highest grossing. So it's just this production house actually that's made broken all the records. So the third one coming out, and pressure to bahut zyada hai, obviously. And especially me being opposite Humayun Saeed. I mean, he is like literally the king of romance in our industry, and he's like one of the biggest stars we have. So come opposite him in my first leading movie, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal, and it's honestly a blessing. So I'm nervous. I'm so nervous.
And this, of course, is a film that you're doing after, of course, I believe rom-com, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you were initially supposed to be a part of Junoon and all of that happened. But so this is quite a hiatus. You've made your mark in television. Last year was incredible with a number of serials that you've done, one after the other. All of them innovative, unconventional. Congratulations to you. We've spoken about that. But tell me what it's like coming back to a film, I believe, on a much bigger scale.
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing Rom-com, I had no acting experience at all. I had no experience whatsoever in the industry, or even being a part of this era, I would say. So obviously, like for me, when I even did Rom-com, I was like, I know I can't act. I don't know what to do. I don't know which camera to look at. I used to shiver. I remember. Even when I did Sangan Malmad, I remember my first scene. I had to hold a more kapank, and I was like that. So I didn't really, I wasn't really into it either, to be honest, at that point, at Namalum's time. But now it's so much bigger, and I'm so much more into acting and stuff, and there's so much more that I've seen that comes along with acting, influencing people and stuff as well, that I fall in love with it. So everything I've done from a certain point onwards has been like a passion project for me. Well, most of them have been, at least. So so this one, obviously, like it being such a big movie, and having such huge records and such amazing names attached to it, it was an amazing experience. But also, like, in a way, I was asked this question if it was like a sense of achievement that I have 2 movies releasing this year, and both of them are.
Of course, I'm coming to that.
Yeah, I have and both the movies are like big banners. It's not like one's a smaller scale or a bigger scale. They're both huge banners as well. So I guess yes, there is a huge sense of achievement, but at the same time, a lot of nervousness as well.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. But of course, I mean, like you mentioned, I was just going to come to that. On Eid al-Azha, apparently there are 2 Kubra Khan movies coming out. You're a part of Parwaaz Hai Junoon as well. Tell me a little about how that feels. I mean, which one is closer to you in a very conventional way?
Well, I signed Parwaaz before Jawani, and I'm going to be honest, Parwaaz is not my movie, but I own it because I worked in it, and I had a lot of fun working in it. And the reason I say it's not my movie is because I'm doing a special appearance in it, but that doesn't mean it's any less closer to my heart, because I put in the same amount of effort in it. I did it with the same amount of passion, and we bonded beautifully. We worked the same way as we worked in Jawani Phir as well. So for that reason, they're both very close to my heart, and to be a part of 2 out of 3 huge movies in Eid al-Azha, I think, on Eid al-Azha, I think it's a big deal. Like, I feel like Fad Mustafa.
So, I mean, of course, speaking of Parwaaz a little, you really bonded with Ahmed Sarym and Hania Amir, apparently. tell me a little about what the dynamic is like. You all of you are really young actors.
Yes.
And making it big, one project after the other.
Yeah.
What's the dynamic like there? Because with Jawani, of course, all of these are very, very established people.
Yeah. No, well, obviously, I think we're like a bunch of youngsters there, isn't it? Like, obviously, there's Hamza as well, and I bonded amazingly with Hamza as well. But Ahad and I are very good friends. We're really, really good friends. We respect each other a lot. And I think at that point, when I had signed the movie, Ahad was very, very new. And for the longest time, I didn't know he was asking for something your son. That was a funny thing. So when he was like entering, he was doing a couple of dramas and stuff. So he told me, oh, I'm in Parwaaz and this and that, and like that's amazing. So we were friends from before any of the projects that he had done. Like he had just come into Pakistan at that point. So we were friends at that point. Hani, on the other hand, I became friends with on the set of Parwaaz, and even that much later on. Like much later on, because I think we just never interacted as much and stuff, and there was just so much work going on, there was so much more stuff going on that we never interacted. And finally on the set of Nachere, Kangna, I call it Nachere, sorry, I call it Kangna, I don't know why they named it Nachere. It makes more sense to call it Kangna, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but like Nachere, anyways. So I bonded with her a lot there, I think because it was just us two girls there and stuff. So there's a lot of like girly stuff that, we have to take care of. So she, like, falling or something, and I take care of her and she take care of me. So I think the woman kind of like element came in there.
Because I must bring up here that for the longest of times the tabloids have always spoken about how there's a cat fight when there are two women in a film, right?
Yeah.
And with Parwaaz you have Hania, and with JP, and of course there's Mawra, there's Usma Khan and Sarwat Gilani.
Yeah.
How does the dynamic work now in this new age?
Yeah, you know what it is? I think with Hani, it was the fact that she's a baby. She's like a little sister to me. She's like that. So with her, I always felt like really motherly towards her, kind of thing. I still do till date. So for that, I had that kind of bond with her. Still, I have the same thing. So we got along on that level. Whereas with Jawani, obviously, older women are more, experienced and established, and they've been working in the industry for such a long time. But Mawra said a brilliant thing that at this point, I think women in the industry have learned to coexist. We don't have to always step over each other. I'm not gonna say that everybody does that. There are people who are still living by the old rules and stuff. But with Mawra and I specifically, I think both of us I think we're just mature enough to know that this part is hers, this is mine, and we're gonna stick to that, and we're gonna go forward together. We don't have to be like, okay, this is hers, I'm gonna take hers too. It doesn't feel like that, because the fact that I haven't lived here my entire life, obviously, as you know. In London, we are very open people. We kind of don't, we don't speak between the lines. And I've lived by that rule all the time. So to come across somebody who kind of believes in the same thing, that, we don't have to step over each other in order to kind of, make it big. Like, do whatever you're doing for your own self, like all the effort that you're going to put in for somebody else, like to bring somebody else down. If you put that same amount of effort in to make yourself grow, I think it would be a lot more lucrative to realize. I believe that, and I think she understands the same thing. And on set we've bonded, off set we've bonded, and for that reason we don't feel the need of stepping over each other. I think it's important.
I mean, in times where we're making films like Ocean's 8, right? Hollywood's done that. Pakistan, of course, has had Cake and Motorcycle Girl films that are completely being driven by women. And of course now you're doing films like you just spoke of, apart from the stigma that's attached to women working alongside each other in South Asia. How do you think times have evolved? Because you've just spoken about London, living there, growing up there. Do you think there's a culture shock when you come here, or do you think we're evolving as well when it comes to female characterization as one?
It's really funny, Sarym, that when I was living in London, I always knew that when I go back to Pakistan, I would be like, I used to always think that London's so modern and everyone's, open-minded and stuff. The first time I came to Pakistan, yes, I had a culture shock. I did. But it wasn't in a way that, like, why are they doing it? It was more like, whoa, they are modern. It was actually that. And I didn't realize how much Pakistan had evolved. Like now we have producers like Sana Shahnawaz and Mumnan Durey. There's so many more, like, who are being, like, production houses that are being run by these strong women, and they're making an effort to, make, well, I think in a way or two, they're making women empowerment a lot more bigger than, what it was back in the days. And in media, where we stand, whether we admit it or not, we have that responsibility where we do influence the community around us. Whatever we show on TV, eventually it will reflect into the society's point of view. So where we have dramas like, you know, like this girl who's crying because her husband's left her, then this girl who's crying has been divorced, or like, you know, she's dying, or she's been being beaten by her family or in-laws or whatever it is. Now we've had dramas that, you know, the woman is saying that, no, I will not stand for this. I refuse to stand for this. Then we have dramas like a girl is saying that I'm going to go to the Air Force and no one's going to stop me. And there is that support there, you know, and I think that really helps, because I think the media industry is one of the most influential industry in Pakistan. Like obviously there's politics and there's like, you know, the Islamic industry as well. I'm going to call it industry, sorry about that, but I'm still going to call it industry. There's that as well, which, you know, they try to impose views. But with this, I think the person, this is kind of like, I wouldn't say brainwashing, but it's more kind of like influencing in a way that when something becomes a norm, when you see something over and over again, it's just something normal now. So now that we've started showing that women are stronger, women can do whatever they want, they don't have to stand back, they don't have to, you know, be bicharis anymore. I think women in Pakistan, and I'm not talking about women in the industry, I'm talking about generally girls in Pakistan, they are growing to be so much stronger than they ever were. Like I see these girls and they're like, you know, competing with the guys, and they're like, you know, we're not going to compete with you, we're better. And I like that. So I think, yes, we have evolved in a great manner, to be honest, and I hope that we continue to do that, where we don't have to step ahead of the guys, but we can at least stand next to them, you know, and we are doing it already. And I think that would be amazing, because we don't, I think women empowerment and feminism is a word that's being really misused these days, by women specifically. I have to say that myself, because there are certain things which are meant for men, there are certain things that are meant for women. So equality, yes, it's a very important thing, I stand by that, of course, but feminism is being misused so much, and I think that people need to understand that feminism isn't that, oh, if you can, you know, I don't know, slap somebody, I can go and slap them too. I feel like it's being used in very stupid examples or scenarios and stuff. So I think women just need to understand that our aim should be standing independently on our own feet, not competing with this man or competing with that man. It should be standing independently, that we don't need a person to support us. That's
Very
what
true.
for me.
Finding an identity of
Exactly, finding identity, for me that is feminism. For me that is women empowerment, that we can, you know, I can stand on my own 2 feet and not worry that, is that man going to support me, is that man going to support me, and when I'm standing on my 2 feet I can support the other women. For me that's feminism, and that's women empowerment. You know, we shouldn't need another man or another human in any form to actually do anything for us. And again, like I said, I'm just repeating myself, that it's not about competing with a man. It's about being independent. You know, being independent. So we don't need it. If it's there, sure. I mean, there are times. And the thing is, I find, I'm just going on about this, but I find it so much that women who say, you know, women empowerment and feminism and this and that, and you know, they go on about it, but then they expect their man to open the door for them, pull the chair back for them. These are like basic chivalry traits that a man should have anyways. But to use that against a man, I think is wrong.
True. And I remember when we spoke not too long ago about the fact that you realized acting was your calling after you did Sange Marmar.
Yes.
Not after Na Malum Afraad, which is why you did this. You had this hiatus as well for a while. You went back.
2.5 years.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me that you've just spoken about the influence that you have as an actor.
Yeah.
How important is it for us to have women as idols on television and film that girls can look up to? Do you think that's what you're aspiring as an actor?
Yes, that is exactly. To be honest, when I did Sange Marmar, that was the time when I realized that this is my calling. But it was actually when I did Muqabil, which was played on ARY. That's when I realized that this is what I want to aspire to be, because I remember very clearly that the first episode was released of Muqabil, and I got this crazy amount of messages, emails, letters even, from women and men, both. And they were just saying stuff like, this happened with us, and as the drama was evolving, these messages just increased, and people were saying that we told our parents, we told our aunts, we told our husband, and there's this feud going on in some people's families and stuff. And rather than being upset about it, I was happy. The fact that I was able, like Barisa's character was able to influence a girl who's in her 19s now, that, you know, she can go to her mom and say that my uncle or my papa or whatever, like my auntie or even a guy, you know, at a certain age, can go and say it to their parents that this happened with me when I was young and I wasn't able to say it to you because I was ashamed. But
Kubra, can you do that with a male buddy movie, Jawani Phir?
A male buddy movie? Well, Jawani Phir doesn't have that, but there is another message in it. Like, you know, there's a huge Pak Indo element in it. And I think we're not promoting, you know, child abuse or anything like that. You know, we're not talking about that, but we are talking about friendship. You know, and Jawani Phir influences on that level. So even in that, yes, it's comedy. And I think for me, it's not always about giving a message that, oh, you know, you can do this, you can do that. Sometimes it's just about lightening somebody's mood. In the environment we live in today, with this, there are dange fasad going on. There are problems going on at people's house, in families and stuff. Just putting a smile on somebody's face, I think it's the biggest thing you can do for somebody. Yeah. And I think Jawani Phir caters to that more than anything else.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this with me, Kubra. I wish you all, not at all, I wish you all the best for both your movies, but I can't wait to watch Jawani Phir.
Thank you.
Catch them, Desidullah Saab. Thank you.